If you smell, oh, well, Black Adam is cooking. Yes, we're talking it. Finally, we're talking Black Adam. For those who've seen my first impressions video, thank you. I've yet to really see if I have what my view count is on that. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Let's check. Hold on. Let's do it. Let's actually do this. Thank you to. Oh wait, no, Ramon, get out of there, Ramon. Studio, not music, silly. This is how I get goofy on this channel. I am sorry. Holy shit, 342. 8 likes, 2 comments. Well, probably one me replying to the other guy. Shit, was not expecting that shit. Not gonna lie. Thank you to 342 people that saw this. Hopefully you're going to show up for this thing. If not, that's a shame. But anyways. Yeah, seriously, it's the 342. Thank you. Thank you. This past weekend. But yes. We're talking this Black Adam, baby. Starring The Rock. Starring. Pull up my shit, because I'm dumb. Sometimes. Not really, but you just get the point. Starring Dwayne Johnson, the Rock, whether or not he wants to go by it or not anymore. Alice Hodge, Santiano, Sarah Shahi, Marwan Kenzari, Quintessa Swindell, Boris Sabanguai, if I can say that right. Ferrari for butcher names, and Pierce Bronson. Specifically, Dwayne Johnson as Teth Adam, aka Black Adam. Aldous Hodge as Carter Hall, aka Hawkman. Noah Centio as Albert L. Rossington, aka Adam Smasher. He is Adriana Tomaz. Z.S. Ishmael Gregor Sabak. Spoilers, I guess. Contessa Swindle as Maxine Hunkel Cyclone. Say that front to his fast, I guess. Amon Tamaz. Played by Bodhi. I got my thoughts on that. Pierce Bronson as the Kent Nelson as the supposed Kent Nelson interpretation of Dr. Fate, amongst other people. Henry Winkler apparently has a cameo in this thing as Uncle Al Pratt, who was the original Adam Smasher. Their mid-credit scene we will be talking about a little later. But yeah, Henry Winkler was it was nice to see him in this movie. A lot of people wanted to shit on this thing, mostly, or at least got a mixed bag, mostly leaning on the negative. Most likely critics, but people who are in the audience are giving it 88%, which means the audience likes this movie. movie and are for it. Though I went to the theater on a Friday, opening evening, I should say, at an IMAX, and hardly anyone there. So maybe, I don't know how the box office went, if it went over well. If, like, I had a feeling from that it probably did not make its 100 mil. It probably should have made. It probably could have come close, but wasn't going to make it in its opening weekend, at least domestically. Probably well worldwide, for sure. Yeah, and of course, a lot of Black Adam's origins, most of my research is pretty much that I've known from when it comes, when knowing about Rock was Black Adam, I knew very little on Black Adam. My knowledge is more so just having played him in the Injustice, Gods Among Us, and the sequel game, or at least with some friends and stuff. Other than And I guess what Death Battle did their little research thing on for that battle between him and the Apocalypse character from X-Men. So, that's my research on it. And as far as what they tell us, there was some slight alteration, but not enough to, but enough to still be exactly what this character is. I will say, as far as portraying Black Adam, yeah, The Rock clearly in looks and physique was going to be able to pull it off, and he actually performed it well, the character at the very least. Whether or not this movie is great is another story. He performed it well, even though he wasn't the highlight of this movie. It wound up more so being the members of the JSA. More specifically, Aldous Hodge's Hawkman and Pierce Brosnan's Dr. Fate were highlights in this movie. Though something happens involving Dr. Fate, I will get to in my spoilers, that I have a bit of a qualm with, that I don't understand why this happened the way it did. And to a point where I feel like it is like I said, it is a Rock movie, Rock and a superhero movie, and a superhero Rock with The Rock in it. It's and a The Rock type movie with superheroes. It's a nice blend of both, and it's good stuff your face popcorn fun. I am understandably in the same camp of being it's a mixed bag, but I'm more on the positive side, like apparently what I've gathered from Dan Murrell and seemingly Christian Harloff. I guess from what they've said, I'm sorry to my boy Monty, if he's watching this, but I mean, so I get your complaints, but my feelings towards the film are more actually more positive. Because I didn't have as much connection towards Black Adam as you might have, which might have helped me, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, The Rock doing his thing as Black Adam, kicking all the bad guys' candy asses. But you know what you think? You know what I think? It doesn't matter what I think. Just what I know. And that this isn't really a bad movie at all. I had fun with it. It's up to your interpretation. It's a mixed bag. I get it's a flawed film. I won't agree with people in a masterpiece. I won't agree with it's a shit film. Because if that were the case, I wouldn't be entertained. And I was. Up to a point. I have my qualms with a couple things that some people didn't bother to touch on and actually were more positive towards, that I'm not going to be. And some I'm going to be might be more positive towards that others might not be. And yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I'm gonna give this a mixed bag, leaning towards the positive, a more thumbs up-y-ish, close to a light thumbs up a little bit. Nothing. I mean, you can, if you're just wanting to see a good film involving The Rock, involving superheroes, if you want to see a decent, fairly good enough portrayal of the character of Black Adam, at the very least, even if and certain aspects of the JSA that are good, this movie, and I love that they do have a back and forth involving those characters, Black Adam's, mentality on what is justice, or his dark mentality of justice, as opposed to what JSA's is, and it does kind of toe a line a bit on it, or at least in a way that's surface level, but also kind of is interesting how they go about it. Even if it seems sort of surface level, I think it's still enough that I think people will still be more interested in this film, at least its second act. More so, third act is kind of, I understand it, but they did sort of set it up, but it does sort of feel like they could have been the final act and just ended it there, technically, but I kind of knew there was no way they were going to end it quite there, necessarily, because they had to have something more climactic, I guess, that would have worked better, I guess. And the villain was well developed as it should have been. And most of them that is Energain is fodder to Black Adam. Like I said, whipping all the candy asses. And oh, the box office. Hold on. I guess is that total? Apparently it's 142.7. Interesting. I don't know if that's the total worldwide or... Wait. Wide or the budget was 195. It'll eventually make its budget, yeah. Let me see this. What's the box office saying here? Let me see. On this movie, box office, what we got? Ooh. Well, wow. Apparently went under. Grossing 67 mil. Oh boy. Hello, Mom. Yeah. Guess some of those people that predicted it wasn't going to make 100 mil were probably right. I mean, it did well enough internationally, I guess it was going to wind up eventually making its budget back, which it will, no matter what. I figured that. I figured once I went out of there, yeah, it wasn't going to sell very well, apparently. And the reviews from critics were going to eventually do something to it, but, man. Oh, well. Mark did what he could, at least to get enough seats in there, but I don't know if it'll matter by next week or not. Shame. More people will probably like the Shazam movie, funny enough, by the time those come out. Though I will say, I did like which is JSA is the Justice Society of America. I didn't know if I said that, but anyways, sorry for the long little pauses and everything. But for the most part, I enjoyed. And it was Adam Smasher. I felt was just it was just a kind of a comedic foil that it was there. The only times but I just didn't care for him. Like when he barely got much, but even for the barely much, she at least knew what she was doing. I guess. Or looked like she knew what she was doing in comparison. And didn't feel stupid. What And they tried to do enough interesting that at least that part was interesting enough, I guess. But other than that, this match was a joke. Cyclone barely got to have anything. But it was more so Aquaman and Dr. Fate were great. And what they brought to the table. But yeah, now I guess it's time for spoilers. So, you've been warned in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, so the movie starts out. In 600 BC, Kadak Akton, if I'm saying that right, is the crown of Sabak, which gives the wearer great power. After attempting to stage a revolt, a young slave boy is given the powers of Shazam by the Council of Wizards. Heroic champion who allegedly Tannen is his reign. Leading to the present day, where again we meet them. It's a slow start a little bit, but once Black Adam comes in, then we get going. To me, Amanda Waller kind of shows up, and then things really get going once the JSA comes into play. Don't know how Amanda Waller wants to tie in with that. I've yet to see the Suicide Squad, though. Yet alone, it's spin-off series in Peacemaker. So, which I need to. So once I get all that out of the way, I'll be more caught up, I guess. And it seems they're trying to do a soft reboot, I guess, because they're trying to add in his things here and there. I think they're going to still include Shazam having happened, but obviously. And a lot of things did happen. And then certain characters, like the Ishmael character, the whole Pierce Bronson as Kent Nelson, Dr. Fate was like I said, he was great. I felt like he might have been underutilized in comparison, but character-wise, I loved Bronson as this particular incarnation of the character. I don't understand. The kid in this movie, I sort of wanted to like at first, but once he met Black Adam, he became a lesser version of the friend that wound up becoming a member of the Shazam family in the last movie. Spoilers for that as well. Good name. Nasty. Ugh. Anyway. But I liked this. I liked what he did. Aldous Hodge's Hawkman was... I had my moments with him, liking him more. Granted, some of the times I was like, dude, chill your roll a little bit. You know, when it comes to dealing with Black Adam, I guess. But I understand that Black Adam's just... Plus, he's a fish out of water. He's out of his own time frame, essentially. We get to a point that we eventually learn later on, which they showed in the trailer, but they didn't really fully cap everything to where it turned out he was this... Where he was revealed to be later on to be not... He wasn't the champion. His son... He wasn't the boy. He was the father. To the son. To the boy. And he chose to give his powers to his father, make him the champion instead, and he wound up dead in the process by the assassins that tried to kill him. And it resulted in Teth Adam becoming the champion and growing dark and very vengeful. Resulting in him going and killing the king, luckily keeping him from having things happen. Unfortunately, one of his descendants would come back and find a way to get the crown and eventually become those demons champions, and resulting in him and actually they get on to better footing, all this stuff. A lot of people want to say the kid is great, but I found him annoying, man. I like him trying to do his super thing. It seemed like he wanted to connect, but it felt more disconnected, and I was more with Black Adam like, kid, you're being annoying, shut the fuck up. Like, or at least that's what I got out of it. Some people wouldn't say that, I guess, but I felt like he would be. Maybe his performances weren't bad, but what he was given with, and the execution was terrible on his end. Once that happened, I was kind of like, I do not care for you. Go away. I care enough about you that if something that you gained a sense of attachment to Black Adam, but other than that, go away. Go away. But yeah, anyways, the whole thing with this movie, I liked it for what it is. The thing that most people are going to be talking about, yeah, Henry Cavill is officially back as Superman, and then of course, just days ago before this movie came out, Man of Steel 2 was announced. So yes, Henry Cavill is back. They already months ago also announced Ben Affleck coming back. It seems that the whole Snyder Cut situation was apparently enough to somehow, some way, and it seems Dwayne Johnson had connections with having the same agent as Cavill, so he was able to bring him in for this. I get that they needed to do this for this particular purpose, but outside of this, once outside of this time frame of when this had happened, this is cool, but a lot of people are already now all of a sudden deciding to complain you should have just had Shazam instead. And tied that in and eventually built into Superman. I get that complaint, but let's face it, we needed to know for sure Henry Cavill was coming back, and even though he had to spoil that. He heard the backlash from what had happened at Comic-Con, and that's why we had the scene. And in fact, this post-credit scene was filmed literally just 2 months ago. So, that's like, and it's not bad, but I could barely hear out the audio on Cavill's end, honestly, and it really didn't help when the crowd was just yelling. So, that was my end of the spectrum of that. I get that they're excited, and I'm not going to blame them for it, especially if you know and we're happy to see Cavill come back as Superman, because he wasn't a bad Superman. It's just the movie he was surrounded with isn't as great as it could have been, even though I will defend Man of Steel anyway. I wouldn't say it's a masterpiece, but it's better than a lot of people give it credit for, or at least it's better than Superman Returns. I mean, for fuck's sake, come on. Which I feel bad for Brandon Routh in that regard, and he did an okay of his end of, I guess, Atom Smasher or something, within the Arrowverse or whatever. But yeah, Black Adam, and eventually to where things end, to where I love that they did the throne scene, which is cut from a nice little panel from the comics. That was kind of cool. And then he feels wrong, and he just destroys the thing after they have their little bout. Which, by the way, the Dr. Fate thing was actually kind of cool. I found that fight kind of cool, and yeah, he was calling it and using it as enough distraction until he could, like, telepathically get to freaking Black Adam, who decided to put it in prison himself so he wouldn't say the word again until he finally did again, and he decided to be the champion for Kandor, or not so much its ruler, leader, so much as its protector. And him officially deciding to go by Black Adam instead of Death Adam. And, well, they're trying to, I guess, make Amanda Waller nowadays seem like freaking Nick Fury at this point. I don't know why. She's way sketchier in comparison. I liked him. I liked the back and forth between Hawkman's and Black Adam's mentality about what a hero is was cool. And I love how, like, even freaking, like, it's just like, he's just sitting there. He knows everything. He's like I ain't gonna, I'm like, I'm just gonna just let this play out between you two and your little fight thing, whatever. I thought Aldous Hodge was great. I loved Aldous Hodge in the TNT series Leverage, as well as what I got to see of glimpses from Red Tails, I believe is the movie. The Lucasfilm movie that pre-Disney owning it, that involved like all black World War II pilots and stuff. That was pretty cool. Series, but he was good, definitely good in this. The actors, I feel like choices were what helped make some of these characters stand up for the JSA, stand out better in what could have been a really bad script if they had lesser than actors, honestly. And it helped massively with this movie. I enjoy this. I wouldn't say, definitely not film of the year. I have more of a feeling Black Panther and some of the previous films that have come out this year. Definitely, there's other films that definitely are going to take the crown for sure. And sadly, it seems that it barely even made 70. Barely made close to 70 mil. Sadly, so. I mean, it's still post-pandemic. I don't think people are as interested, and I think also there's Halloween parties going on, probably. It might have something to do with it still. Like, for some reason, people still celebrate Halloween throughout the month, or at least within the week of earlier, before anybody else can. Because that's what happened, I guess, for my Saturday, but I knew I was able to make a Friday work for me. I wouldn't mind seeing it again, but like for more of a matinee price to me. And it does make me wonder what they're going to do. Hopefully Black Adam will have an appearance in the new Shazam v Fear of the Gods. Fingers crossed on that. Apparently they've had a couple characters that were from the Suicide Squad movie that made cameos in this. And I guess the JSA were... I wish we could have seen more of the JSA. I am more curious about the JSA at this point than I would say Black Adam. I mean, at this point, I'm more curious when we're going to see Black Man, Superman actually square off. Or they're teasing that, but I'm hoping we get Black Adam versus Shazam and the Shazam family before we ever see him and Superman one-on-one. Which would be better. I'm pumped for when it happens, but I feel like we should build into it more. You teased us more so because you did this just to show Henry Cavill's back. I'm happy he's back. Some people aren't. Fuck you. I am. We were getting a Man of Steel 2, and hopefully this Man of Steel 2 will make up for the previous one. And, finally, Cavill will finally have a good Superman movie, which we need to finally see a good Superman, or at least a great Superman movie. It's been a while since I can say that. Outside of what we got from the original Christopher Reeve's first film. Some might actually sort of say at least the second film, more so it's the director's cut specifically, the Donner cut. But, I mean, which I'm told that cut is the best. But regardless, those films are fine. I liked this. I was expecting to the very least like this movie. And my expectations, I guess, were met. you know, I didn't have much, because I didn't have too much detail. And the thing is, they changed up, we'll say they did change up something about it, because in the comics, he's really more the uncle to the original champion, and they shared the powers, and he basically wound up killing the kid. And once he took his powers and stayed with those powers, which would make him more of a villain. Clearly, The Rock didn't want to go that route, so he instead decided to give him a more sympathetic route to where he's the father, where Teth Adams is the father of the boy, and the boy dies from the assassins, killed by the assassins, resulting in him going into a unbridled revenge spreeing rage, and uses his powers to pretty much just get revenge and stuff. And then he gets sealed away before being awakened from in the beginning of the film, which in the beginning of the film, they pushed the PG-13. He's freaking frying people until they disintegrate and you see nothing but a skull from one of the bad guys. Luckily, you can't feel too bad about it because they're technically bad guys. So it kind of rides a weird line. But I think it works well when the JSA come in and they actually add this antithesis. I feel like this might have supposedly was meant to be a JSA film, but none of the actors involved that were big enough, I guess, or had enough star power that like The Rock would have, that it wound up being a Black Adam film. In that regard, it's more like they just have it's a Black Adam film with JSA in it, even though it should have been a JSA film with Black Adam in it, probably. And even though it's weirdly, there was a point where Black Adam was apparently a member of the Justice Society at one point. So they kind of played with that. So overall, I like this film. I don't love it. I don't hate it. But I find it entertaining. Worth being a decent enough blockbuster in the summer, for a 90s summer blockbuster that you just shove your popcorn in. It works for that. And I don't understand people comparing it to Venom or Morbius when I feel like this movie's way better than that, to be fair to it. But what did you guys think? Leave a comment below, let me know. I'm very happy that Cavill's back, all this other stuff. So anything I missed that we can talk about in the comments, because I'm sure I missed something, just leave a comment below, let me know. If you like this video, rock the like button with thrust if you must. Click the subscribe, hit the subscribe button, click the subscribe button, click that notification bell to get notifications on all my videos. And as always, guys, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rockin'. If you smell what the random rocker is cooking. Do do do.